welcome to a very special webinar. I'm very excited to show you what we have today. The key items that we'll cover will include the upcoming changes to the CaFÉ site for administrators, specifically the upcoming changes to the Events Management tab and the upcoming changes to the Artist Citation page. Before I log in and everything, I'll give everyone a little bit of an overview and context to these upcoming changes. There's going to be a whole new design to the administrator site. This update is only going to change the admin side of CaFÉ, so the site that you see when you log in to administer and organize your calls for entry, but this won't change the artist side nor the juror side. In fact, the change that we're making here is going to more closely align with the design of the interface that the jurors and the artists see. We hope this gives you a little bit of a heads up as to what the site will look like when the changes are made, so the transition is a little easier. We'll go ahead and get started to show you what the new site for administrators will look like. So the login page, as you saw, it looks the same, but as soon as you log in with your existing usernames and passwords, you'll be taken to this new user interface. So the first thing you might notice is the new colors and overall design. You'll also see that the navigation menu used to be at the top, now it's on the left-hand side. And then this menu is actually collapsible, so you can just click these three lines here to open and close it. I like closing the menu whenever I'm on a specific page just so I can see the entire page a little bit better. So you'll see that a little bit later on. But then other than the menu's position, you'll still see the same tabs. So for example, under events, you still have management, communication, and coupons. Under jury, you have your administration and juror tab. This is a list of the jurors. Under reports, you have the same options. And then you also have the ticket and help center tabs, which will take you to those respective pages. Another thing that you probably are missing from the menu here is that logout menu. That's actually just moved up here to the top right. So if you click this user icon and then you click log out, you'll be logged out. That's pretty much it for the general overview. Like I said, we'll be going over these other pages in future webinars before the release. But today we're just going to go over the Events tab and the Events Management tab. So here you'll see that we still have the current event drop-down list and the archived event drop-down list. So I'll just go ahead and select the call. And then once this loads, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. You'll see that it looks pretty much the same as it did before. You have your application status table on the left. So this shows the statuses for your call and how many entries you have in each one. So you can click on the name of the status to view the entries in that status, or you can click the View All button to pull up the applications. On the right, you have the search by box that will allow you to search for specific applications. So you can search by name, application ID number. You can search by category. So you could enter one of the categories if you have categories set up. And then let's say you wanted to pair that search with a specific status, for example, 3D entries in the receive status, you could use that function to search for those entries. And then just like before, you also have the option to only show tagged applications or flagged applications. Nothing has really changed with those, but I'll go over what those mean if you don't know them. This is pretty much the same as it has been, but hopefully it's a little bit of a reminder of how you can search for and pull up the applications by status. So next I'll go over what the table looks like when you pull it up. So I'll go ahead and click on the status I want to view, and you'll see that the table loads. Just as before, you'll see one line on this table per application. Just like before, if the call is set up as jury by artwork, you'll see one line per artist image. So one line here, the first one will show the artist's transaction information, and then two additional lines under the same artist name for each of their additional entries. If the call is jury by artist, you'll see one line per artist. So it'll only be listed, the name will only be listed once, unless you allow them to submit multiple applications under a jury by artist call. One helpful thing that's been added here to this table is that you can now view the total entries and the total number of artists. So this is particularly helpful if you have a jury by artwork call, because you can see even if you have 21 entries or 21 work samples, you know that 11 artists have submitted that number. So it's kind of a quicker way to see how many artists have actually applied to your call versus how many entries were submitted. So you'll also see the pagination on the right. It's at the top instead of the bottom. You can select how many you want to view per page and click through pretty easily up top there. This table, you can sort it by clicking on the column heading, and now there's even more options for sorting. So any of these columns can be clicked to sort by anything. So you can sort by first or last name. You can just click once to sort ascending, once to sort descending. Just do that for any of them that you need. One thing that's new here that's pretty exciting in my opinion is that you can now sort by transaction date to see the dates that the application is actually submitted. So you can click once, you won't see anything. These are those extra additional images per artist. So you can scroll down to see the first transaction made to this call. And if you sort again, you can see the most recent submission and the date that it was received. So it might not seem like a big change, but it wasn't possible in the past. And we know that some folks wanted to sort by transaction date. So we split out the date from the rest of the details so that you could sort them. A couple other things on this page. We have the notes column like before. However, it doesn't say the actual words add, comment, or view status history. You just have these little icons. So if you click the clock icon, you can pull up the status history for this particular application. So you can see when the application was moved to a specific status and also by whom. So this could be helpful. You can also click this little comment bubble here. This will pull up the application comments. So for example, you can put in, check on this later, or any other comment you have for this app, you just enter it in there. If you need to make changes, you click the same thing and you just have to click save to save any changes. You can close it. And I'll show you where you can do this as well on the application page. Next is the tag column. This is also the same as before, but I'll go over some other changes we made to tags later on. But this is where it'll show it if it has one. So for example, right here, we've got a tag. You can also filter this and sort this table by tags. And then finally, we have the flag column. So this is the same as before. You can flag and unflag specific applications just to draw your attention to them. There's also the new option to select all flags or deselect all flags. So for example, maybe you're working in a specific status like other or something, and you need to flag them before moving them with the rest of the group. You can use that select all option. And so those are some of the changes that we made to the application table page here. And then basically another change that we made that's pretty big is that if you need to change the status of an application, as soon as you select a new one from the list here, the change will save automatically. So before or currently how it is you have to change the drop-down menu, then click the save button. Now it will simply update automatically. You'll see that it gets moved and jumped over to the status that you selected. If you're on the view all page and you make this change like that, it will stay on the same page, but you'll see that the message has been successfully moved to the new status. So that's something that's helpful just so that you can make some changes quickly. Maybe you're changing a lot of different applications at once. There's still the option to move all statuses at once. So if you are doing it by status, if you click on received, for example, there's still the option at the bottom to change all artists in that status to a new status. You can do something like that. Click go to save the change here. And you'll see that all of them have been updated and put into their new status. I'll go ahead and change that back. Received, go. That's pretty much all that we have on this page that's different. You still have the options here to view the slideshow. You have the same report option. So under download spreadsheet, you can download contact information, application answers, and media information. Under download PDF, you can download the applications and the media inventory list. One thing I'll mention here, which has always been the case, but it's a good reminder, if you need to download any of these reports, but you need to make sure they're in a specific order, you first just have to sort the table that you're viewing, and the download will be in the same order that you put it in. So for example, if you know you need it by transaction date, for example, you can sort the table first, then go to download the report you need. And once you download the report, it'll be in the same order as this table you're seeing here. This is helpful. Maybe last name, I think, is the most common one. If you need to make sure it's sorted by last name, just know that that's how you can sort the order of the actual downloaded report. We're now going to move on to talk about the changes to the artist citation page. We now have named it the artist application page. It's a little more standard, I think. So to view it, we're going to do the same thing we've done in the past, which is click the application ID number, and you'll be taken to the artist application page. Overall, the layout of the page is updated with separate sections for each element of the application. So you can see each little box of sections here. And you can also click on each section from the top right to have it scroll down to that part of the application. And then at the top here, you can see we've clearly got the call name, the artist name, application ID number, and its status. On the right, it'll show you any tags, which again, I will show you how to create those in a second. The first section we have here is the contact information section. So this lists the information that the artist enters in their profile, so email, any phone information, their website, mailing address. If they're on a team, it'll be listed here. And then the next section is the action section. So this is actually entirely new to this page. Here you can do a lot of what you can do on the event management page from that table I was showing you. You can add comments, flag the application, change the statuses, anything that you need. You can do any of these actions here and it will update on the event management page too. You can also change the category, things like that. So now is where I'll show you how to create the tags, and after the changes occur, you can actually add up to 3 tags per application. So to create a tag, you'll type up to 12 characters here. So for example, maybe they're a member, so you can click enter the tag here, click save. You'll see it then gets added to this section. It also gets added to the top here. Maybe they're also a board president, so you can tag it that way. Oh, I entered a space, so I can't do that. Any little internal comment here, you can add up to 3, like I said. And once you've added 3, you can't add any more. But if you need to remove them, you just click this X here, and those will get removed. Just to review here real quickly, tags cannot be seen by the artist, but they can be seen by the juror. So it's a kind of a good way to communicate something to the juror, perhaps maybe a previous winner or something like that. So you need them to know something about the application that they might want to take into consideration. Tags are a good way to do that. Comments, if you add any comments, they will be only seen by you. So jurors cannot see this and artists cannot see comments. And then same thing with flags. It's only really for your internal use. It's not seen by the artist or the jurors. This action section pretty much just makes it easier to review the application, look through it, make any updates you need. You can view the status history, just do anything you need that is for this particular application. And perhaps in your workflow, you can view them one by one and use this section to update any info you need. So then moving on, we have the form answers section below here. This will list the answers the applicants entered to your application custom questions. All the questions you've built out during setup will be listed here, and the answers, if they're provided, will be listed as well. If the artist did not provide an answer, you'll see this message here that they did not provide one. That's a new thing instead of a blank space. If an artist uploaded a file as their answer, you'll still see it just as before like this with the option to download it. And yeah, basically this section is just pretty much updated so that it's more clear about what's the question, what was the answer, and gives you a better view of the actual application answers. And then the section below this is the work sample section. This is where you'll see the image, video files, or audio files submitted by the artist. Remember that if your call is jury by artwork, which means each image is separated into individual entries, you'll only see one work sample here, and there will be another or multiple application pages where you can go to view the other work samples submitted by the artist. If that's the case, then all these form answers that you see above here, including the artist statement, those will all be the same for each work sample, but when you go to the next application page, the work sample will just be different. And if your call is jury by artist / application, you'll see all of the work samples grouped together here. And I'll show you a little bit later what that looks like. Like I said, you see the artist statement here in this section, and you can also see the category listed. And then you'll see some basic details of the artwork submitted, and you can click on the image to view the enlarged version. You'll see even more details about it, including the description at the bottom. And this is pretty much just like a nicer way of viewing than we had before. Instead of taking you to a separate page, it's all just in here in this separate window. And if this was a jury by artist call, which I'll show you, you can click through all of the work samples one after another. And then below the work samples, we have the email section that hasn't changed. It will list any emails sent to the artist, both individually and in a group if you send it to a batch of statuses at once. And then just a reminder too, if you do need to send an individual email, you can do so by clicking the email link here. So once you click this, it'll take you to the emailer where you can send them an individual email. And then towards the bottom of the page here, we have the transaction. So this will list the transaction made for this application. It'll list how many entry fees, which should just be one, how many additional media fees, if applicable, were paid, if they used any coupons, and then that transaction information can be used in other ways. And then it'll show you the total here at the bottom if they purchase multiple products. And then if you need to, you can go ahead and just shortcut to the full income breakdown report. This is just a handy tool if you're looking at it here, but you want to view it against the other transactions. You can go ahead and go to the report. Finally, at the bottom, you'll see that there's the arrows to go to the next application or back to the list, which was that table. So maybe you're going through them one by one, you're reviewing, making sure everyone's eligible and they have their requirements in, and you just want to skip to the next one. You can click next application. You'll see here that again, this one, because it's from the same artist, it looks the same, has the same application answers. It'll just have a different work sample. This is a jury by artwork call, so they're separated out. And then again, you can either go back to the previous one or click next and view the next one. I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like to a jury by artist or application call, just so since there's minor differences. So I'll go here, I'll click on the receive status, click on our artist here. So you'll see here that because it is a jury by artist call, the images are grouped together into one, and you can view them all at the same time. So if you click on the image, you can view it, see the details, click the arrow to go back and forth through the enlarged images. All right, and that pretty much concludes everything on the artist application page and the event management page. Like I mentioned, we'll be sure to update you when we know the exact dates these changes will be made, and we'll also have more information. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited about this release. We hope that once it's released, you all enjoy the new site.